Within the last 2 years, we've seen an alarming rise of hate crimes throughout this city. Just a short few weeks ago, a Hasidic couple was enjoying a day at a park in Manhattan. But that outing turned into a nightmare when a stranger came up to them and slashed them and their little baby in the carriage. Incidents like these are happening way too often to Jewish Americans and more recently to Asian Americans, as well as all other minority groups. This has to stop, and this has to stop now. We need strong leadership here in New York City. And I believe in order for us to move this city forward, we need a fresh face. Somebody who may not be a career politician, but who can be innovative and creative in resolving our city's problems. Our city needs a leader with the skills and competence to turn this city around. Someone who is focused and capable and driven. Someone who has the integrity and the strength and of character of a true leader. And someone who recognizes that all diverse communities of this city, and yes, that also includes the Orthodox Jewish community. That's why I am delighted to endorse Andrew Yang in the upcoming Democratic primary. I believe that Andrew Yang has the smarts and the skills to tackle the issues and the crises of today. I believe that Andrew Yang can bring a fresh perspective to solving the city's problems. I also know that Andrew Yang recognizes the uniqueness of every community in this city. And Andrew understands that the Orthodox Jewish community is part of the beautiful mosaic that is New York City. That's why I am wholeheartedly endorsing Andrew Yang for mayor. And I urge everyone to vote for Andrew Yang in the upcoming mayoral primary election. New York City's greatest days are ahead. And we need a unique candidate in a unique time. And I believe Andrew Yang is that person. I now turn it over to the mighty council member, Kalman Yeger.
I don't know if I'm that mighty. It's hard to follow my assemblyman, and also the nerds amongst us recognize that the mask and the glasses don't always work well together. But thank you very much, Simcha. That's incredible. I, like Simcha, have the great honor of representing our community in legislature. I serve in the New York City Council and have the honor of representing Midwood, Bensonhurst, Gravesend, Kensington, and a place you might have heard, the little village of Borough Park, USA. And a community of incredible people, but not as much as we are different, not different from New Yorkers generally speaking. We all want the same thing. New York's first Jewish mayor, Fiorello LaGuardia, was famous for saying, "There's no Republican or Democratic way to pick up the trash." To me, that phrase was less important for its point about nonpartisan municipal government, more important for its acknowledgement that the mayor's job is to pick up the trash. That's the mayor's job. It's also the mayor's job to provide for the health and public safety of every New Yorker, for the economic strength of every community in New York, for the education of New York's children, for clean parks and safe streets, for the growth of the private sector, for opportunities for the economic engines of our city, and to provide hope and inspiration to the people that while perhaps we're not at the best of times, our future is bright and right in front of our eyes. Simcha and I know many of the candidates, and some we know better than others, some we don't know that well. But what Andrew Yang gives, more than any other candidate, is a reason to believe that our community has a future in this city. Andrew Yang gives every New Yorker reason to believe that they have a future in our city. No two New York stories are the same. My father came here on a boat with his older brother and his parents on a quest for the opportunities of a nation. And it's right here in Brooklyn that they found it. It could never have been their dream that the next generation would represent nearly 200,000 New Yorkers in the New York City Council. Simcha's story is different but the same. Andrew's story is different but the same. Millions of New York stories are different but the same. We want to do better for our children than we did for ourselves, and we want them to do better for theirs. In our many, many conversations with Andrew over the last few weeks, one thing he kept saying repeatedly, in private to me, to Simcha, and in public to many others that I've heard him say this, was his sense about our community, and these are his words, is that you don't want more, you don't want extra, you just want fairness, to be treated fairly, like every community in New York. That really is the truest thing about us. We're not looking to cut the line, we're not looking for more than our fair share. But we don't want less, that's for sure. And we certainly don't want to be treated worse because of who we are. As Simcha said, the last 14 months have been impossibly difficult for New Yorkers all across the city, and particularly our community. When positive test percentages inched higher in one neighborhood, they got resources and help. Our neighborhood got red zones and scoldings. Some neighborhoods got acknowledgement of the financial distress they were facing, the economic hardship they were facing, the educational hardship that children faced. We got inspectors from an alphabet soup of city agencies marching through with ticket books. But our community's troubles didn't start 14 months ago. As Simcha said, if you recall, the most important topic to us right before the pandemic was the near daily attacks on members of our community all across New York just because they look like me or Simcha. Violent, vicious anti-Semitism throughout New York. And government was incredibly silent. The media too. And I've talked about this, and I spoke about this on the floor of the council. It was long ago said that if you don't have a seat at the table, you're probably on the menu. Well, we're tired of being on the menu. We want to be a part and partner of this great civic experiment that is New York City. And the one candidate we believe gives every New Yorker that partnership is Andrew Yang. None of this is to say that no other candidate for mayor promises this. But Andrew Yang, Simcha said, by his newness, his background, his wisdom, his plans, gives every New Yorker reason to believe in our city's future. Andrew inspires New Yorkers to hope. I want a mayor who will lift our city up from the tough times of the present to the bright promises of tomorrow. And I believe Andrew Yang does that. He unites, he inspires. No mayor can be successful without inspiring New Yorkers to greatness. I believe Andrew Yang brings inspiration to greatness to every corner of our city. He will serve, he will lead, he will recover and repair our city. The city I love, the city I was born in, the city where I only lived in 2 zip codes my entire life, the city we all love. I know it, I believe it, and I'm putting every ounce of energy I have for the next 7 weeks to elect Andrew Yang, the 110th mayor of New York. I am so proud of you, and I'm honored to stand with you.
Thank you, Kalman.
Andrew Yang.
Wow, thank you so much, Kalman and Simcha. It's such a privilege to be here with you today and accept this endorsement. I want to acknowledge the heavy hearts that so many people in New York feel right now over the deaths at the religious festival at Mount Meron in Israel last number of days, and over 100 people injured as well. One of the lives that was lost, Menachem Noblowitz, was a 21-year-old man who had just been engaged and had his entire life in front of him. And the pain that so many in this community and people around New York City feel, we're with you. We understand. It's heartbreaking that people who had so much in front of them had their lives lost in such a tragic way. what this endorsement means a lot to me, in large part because of the leadership that you both represent, and so many of your other community leaders, where Simcha's characterization of New York City as a beautiful mosaic, I think, is exactly what we should aspire to be, and that there are so many different walks of life, so many different communities in New York City, but we should all be included. We should all know that we have a seat at the table, in Kalman's words, and that our city government should be treating us with this principle of fairness that so many New Yorkers should expect, but unfortunately haven't been experiencing over the last number of years. And on the topic of the rise in anti-Semitic violence and the hate crimes, we all know that the Asian American community has been among the communities that's been most impacted over the recent days by the surge in hate crimes in New York City. As mayor, I will do everything in my power to bring the city together, to reduce these hate crimes, and to make sure that our city agencies and law enforcement resources are being allocated to protect our people. There are a lot of things that we can do better on this side. I've committed to reducing street homelessness by more than 50%. I believe that this will help people feel safer and more secure as we walk the streets of our neighborhoods. I've committed to redoubling mental health resources, which in many cases are overlapping with some of the violence and hate crimes that we're seeing. We can do more, but right now it's unacceptable that so many people, and I hear this every single day, are uncomfortable walking our streets or riding our subways. There's no way a community can recover if we don't feel secure being able to bring our families to the local park or on a trip across our great city. There's so much work to do. I'm just thrilled to have partners like Simcha and Kalman in doing this work. And to the Orthodox Jewish community, I've learned so much from you. I've enjoyed every moment I've spent in your community. I think Kalman gave me one of the highest compliments I've received on this campaign so far, which is he said I brought wisdom. I actually say I think I've received wisdom from my time spent in the Orthodox Jewish community. You all are role models in many, many ways. And we should be not just respecting you and your priorities for your community, but I think there's a lot to learn, honestly. I think the standards should actually be a little bit different than what you all are describing, which is you all want to be treated fairly. I think the city could learn a lot from you and your community. So I'm thrilled to be accepting this endorsement, and I'll be even more excited to do work on behalf of you and every New Yorker to try and improve our way of life and give our city the future it deserves and has been missing for too long. Thank you both so much. Thank you.